Thank you, Dan, and a very good afternoon to you, wherever and however you're listening to us on Talksport 2. I can tell you there was a muted cheer in the concourses here in the West Stand at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as I walked up earlier to our commentary position as the full-time whistle blew at the Vitality, because goodness only knows that Spurs and Antonio Conte need a rapid pick-me-up after 2 cup exits inside a week, either side of a Premier League defeat at Wolves that they thought would leave them outside the top 4 at kick-off here, but for Liverpool's shock defeat at lunchtime by Bournemouth, live over on Talksport. Meanwhile, the Lily Whites haven't been lower than 5th all season and are on the same points tally as they were at this stage last campaign, before they won 8 of their last 12 to secure a Champions League berth. And on paper, the visit of a Nottingham Forest team who've notched just 3 goals and 1 win on the road all season should provide that much needed boost for the hosts. But the trees could prove tricky, as they've only lost 2 of their last 8 top flight matches under Steve Cooper and have clambered up to 14th in the table, 4 points clear of third bottom Everton, with whom they drew 2-2 last Sunday at the City Ground. Spurs welcome back Eric Dyer from suspension to the starting lineup, but Richarlison's the main headline after describing his season as something I can't say on national radio at this time in the afternoon. Antonio Conte has handed him with a start. Pedro Porro also recalled the 3 players dropping out: Royal, Kulusevski and Perisic. Christian Romero is fit to start, so it's Fraser Forster in goal for Spurs. The back 3 are Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Clement Longley. Pedro Porro, Oliver Skipp, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ben Davis across midfield. Richarlison, Heung-min Son and Kane up front. Forest have no fresh injury concerns arriving in North London, and they hand Jesse Lingard his first start of 2023 as one of 2 changes from the 2-2 draw against the Toffees. He comes in for Chris Wood, and Ono Mangala comes in for Jack Colback in midfield. Keylor Navas is the Forest keeper. Serge Aurier, a former Spurs player. Joe Worrell, Felipe and Renan Lodi make up the back 4. Jonjo Shelvey, Remo Freuler and Ono Mangala are the 3 midfielders. Jesse Lingard and Morgan Gibbs-White will support Brennan Johnson in attack. Craig Pawson is the referee. He took charge of the reverse fixture at the City Ground earlier in the season. Again, Tottenham won 2-0, although Forest won at the City Ground by the same scoreline a couple of months later in the League Cup. And it's Forest that will get us underway. They're defending the North Stand away to our right. Plenty of Nottingham Forest fans in the northeast corner. Their first chance to experience this brand new stadium in their first season back at the Premier League. Underway on Talksport 2 as game day continues here in North London. After Bournemouth saw off Liverpool, what can Spurs do to respond and try and consolidate 4th spot in the table? Forest in possession early on, just down beneath us as they attack the South Stand end in their red shirts and socks and white shorts, and it's spread out by Morgan Gibbs-White to Renan Lodi. Midway point of the half, Shelvey showing for him just infield. Shelvey hits a diagonal ball, looking to pick out the attacking run of Remo Freuler. Came off the top of Freuler's head and went out for a Spurs goal kick. Spurs in their traditional white shirts and socks and the dark blue shorts. And Alvin Martin's alongside me today.
Well, it's so important that they start well in the first 10 minutes, Spurs. You know, after a really poor week, morale low. I'm not just about the team now, I think of the supporters as well. They'll want to see at the very least some fire. You know, and that means actually going and taking the game to Forest. But on the other hand, Forest, I think, will also set themselves up to say, you know what, first 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to ask you a couple of questions, because if they can stretch Spurs, can maybe create an early chance, then the home crowd could get really impatient.
I've been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a couple of times this season, and they've started fairly slowly in the games I watched against Southampton and Fulham. Forest in possession, minute gone, 0-0 on Talksport 2. I'll keep you updated with goals elsewhere. Mentioned that Liverpool lost by 1-0 at Bournemouth, live on Talksport. Bristol City, you heard here on Talksport 2, a 2-0 win against Blackpool, and Celtic through to the Scottish Cup semi-finals, beating Hearts by 3-0 also at lunchtime. Here's Morgan Gibbs-White for Forest, flicking the ball in field, but Aurier has the ball taken off his toe by Son Heung-min on halfway. Richarlison clattered into by Felipe, but the whistle had gone already before Richarlison received the ball for a challenge on Morgan Gibbs-White. It's going to give Nottingham Forest a free kick, I think, down beneath us. Couple of minutes gone on Talksport 2, and it's 0-0. And it will be a shortly taken free kick by Serge Aurier, back on his old stomping ground. Made just over 100 appearances for Spurs between 2017 and 2021. And he couldn't control the pass that was meant for him on this near touchline, and Spurs have a throw, and Steve Cooper presents the ball to his compatriot Ben Davis, and he throws it back in for Clement Longley. Now Skip, just shy of the halfway line for Spurs, fires an immediate ball downfield looking for Richarlison. Richarlison's away! What a time to break your Premier League duck! Richarlison puts Spurs in front inside 3 minutes. Skip's ball over the top, Richarlison in behind. For some reason Keylor Navas started to come but then went back, and it was lashed into the roof of the net by Richarlison. His first Premier League goal, and what a time to get it, to raise the spirits around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not 3 minutes gone and it's Spurs 1, Forest 0.
Well, what precision, what a ball from Skip. I haven't seen him hit a ball as good as that in his whole career at Spurs. This is inch perfect. As soon as it leaves his foot, you can see they're backtracking Forest. The run is perfect from Richarlison, and when he actually got onto it, he hit it with such ferocious power. No keeper in the world was going to stop it. What a start for Spurs.
Checking goal for possible offside, says the VAR screen away to our right hand side. So they're looking for Richarlison's position when Skip hit that pass. They're now starting to draw the lines on the VAR screens right next to us. Meantime, Everton have the lead against Brentford. Dwight McNeil's given Everton an early lead at Goodison Park, but they're checking this goal for possible offside against Richarlison. The boos ringing round the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium whilst the lines are drawn. It's tight, Alvin Martin.
Well, I didn't think it was when I first looked at it in real time, but you never know, dear. We can't see the lines being drawn.
No, all we can see is a close-up where it's heavily pixelated of Richarlison in between Worrell and Felipe, the two centre-halves. And as sometimes happens with a VAR decision, this is taking an awfully long time.
I don't know why, Dan. I really don't know why. You know, this should be quick. This isn't interpretation, it's a line that is or isn't.
And still we wait. And still our referee, Craig Pawson, cannot give a decision. Frustration all around this stadium with 5 minutes gone, but still waiting for confirmation. Now they are drawing the lines, and it's been given as offside. It will not count. Offside. I've just seen the lines come up on my screen, and it will be a free kick to Nottingham Forest. The goal is chalked off. It stays 0-0.
Incredible. I don't know how on earth it takes that long to come to that conclusion. That's what really surprises me.
It took 2 minutes and 7 seconds, my producer Sal tells me, from the ball hitting the back of the net for that decision to come to pass. So we stay at 0-0 on Talksport 2. Richarlison adjudged to be offside, so the quality of the finish and the quality of the pass from Skip ultimately means nothing.
There is something that really is sad about a goal, or it's not a goal, is it? But a strike like that being chalked off. You know, it was a memorable move, memorable work skill, and there's something not right about it.
Mangala for Nottingham Forest as the visitors try to recover. Renan Lodi, he skips away from Emerson Royale, hits a cross into the box and it's deflected behind, and suddenly from nowhere Nottingham Forest have their first corner of the game on 6 minutes, 0-0.
I wonder what impact that will have on the support as well, because they were lifted. They were lifted by a moment of great skill from Skip and Richarlison. It's been wiped away within seconds, and they've got to lift themselves again now, never mind the team.
So Forest corner at the south stand end, where it meets the east stand opposite our commentary position. A couple of Forest players over there, Felipe and Worrell unmarked just inside the 18-yard box, the two centre-halves ready to make a run. Gibbs White will play it short. It's worked back to Shelby, left-hand corner of the box, back out to the left-hand side. A chance to get a cross in maybe from Lodi. Gets the cross in over everybody's head and drifts out to this near side. Mangala will get there just ahead of Skip, keep it in play, and he will roll it back. Now it's John Joe Shelby at the edge of the centre circle. Long ball downfield, flicked on by Worrell. Almost found Felipe, but he was offside. Two centre halves had stayed forward for Forest, but Worrell's flick on found Felipe in an offside position. 0-0 here. Birmingham City lead Rotherham in the Championship. Reda Kadra, on loan from Sheffield United, has given Birmingham the lead. That's the first goal in the Championship, 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Muted, isn't it? It's muted. I think
What, the news of Birmingham's goal, or you mean the atmosphere inside here?
The Spurs fans are, I think they're shell-shocked. They thought they'd seen a fantastic opening goal. It's been wiped off, and now they've got to regroup and go on again. And it's just gone quiet, the ground.
Alvin Martin, former England centre-half and West Ham stalwart, alongside me, Ian Dante, here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 0-0, 8 gone. Tottenham in possession, just shy of the halfway line, with Christian Romero, who got that red card against Milan in the week. Limped off as well whilst he was getting that red card, but okay to start today. He will play the ball back to the returning Eric Dyer. Stevenage lead Walsall by a goal to 0. Josh March. Stevenage having a right old wobble. Here's Ben Davis for Tottenham, firing a ball in from the left hand side. Worrell heads it up and out, only as far as Porro. Now Skip looks for his central midfield partner Højbjerg, centre of the Forest half. Kane comes deep, looks for Richarlison 30 yards out with his back to goal. Now Skip works it out to Porro on the right wing. Chance for a cross into the box along the deck, cleared quite easily in the end by Shelvey, but only as far as Romero. 0-0, and Romero has to go back into his own half. In fact, he just tricks Brennan Johnson and plays the ball in field to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He spots Son out on this left hand side, wriggling infield, getting to the left-hand corner of the box, hits a diagonal ball into the area, volleyed away by Felipe. Johnson not really looking at the ball, looking more at Dyer, but Dyer did well, won the header. Spurs have it back. Pedro Porro in for Emerson Royale this afternoon in that right wing-back position. Now Dyer, bit of space for Højbjerg to turn and move into the Forest half, slips it out to the left-hand side first for Son. Long lays outside him on the overlap if he wants to use him, but he doesn't. He goes back to Højbjerg, and now Romero. And we were talking about the tempo that Spurs need to start with, and the tempo's not quite there yet, Alvin Martin.
No, they're playing square backwards. At the moment there's no real penetration to their play.
As a cross comes in from Porro, that's comfortably cleared on the half volley by Felipe, and Johnson got there just ahead of Eric Dyer and forced Dyer to toe poke the ball out for throw just inside the halfway line. So it's just inside the Spurs half of the field. So the only Premier League goal we got on the 3 o'clock so far is at Goodison Park. Everton 1, Brentford 0. And that was Dwight McNeil who got that goal. Elsewhere it's goalless, including here, with 10 minutes gone on Talksport 2 on Game Day exclusive. Here's Serge Aurier, faced up by his former teammate Son Heung-min. Has to turn away and give the ball back to Shelvey, but a neat ball from Shelvey to find Freuler. Freuler was caught by Davis as he released the ball, so that will be a free kick for Forest. 0-0.
Well, there has been a slow start from Tottenham in respect of after that goal. The fabulous strike was chalked off for Richarlison. They haven't really been able to reignite, have they, Spurs? And it's Forest really. We're having plenty of possession, not really going too far with it, no real penetration, but they are starting to look comfortable. I think there's another gear there for Forest. If they were to create 1 or 2 chances now, then the initiative in the game could really go to them.
You're listening to Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 0 on Talksport 2 with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Shelvey with the free kick on halfway, drives it up towards the edge of the area. Worrell nods it down. Dyer heads it half clear, hooked away further clear by Højbjerg, but picked up first by Mangala and then Lodi down the left-hand side, but he hits a wild cross in from the left-hand side that lands in the first 2 rows behind the goal, and Forster takes the goal quickly for Tottenham Hotspur. 11 and a half gone. Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 0. If you're just tuning in to our exclusive, live and free Premier League commentary this Saturday afternoon.
Spurs can't get the ball into Son. They can't get it in really to Richarlison with any real quality, and certainly Harry Kane hadn't. I don't think he's hardly touched the ball.
Here's Højbjerg down the left-hand side, but he runs into Shelvey, who fouled him, took him down. Meanwhile, Leicester 0, Chelsea 1 as a latest score. Ben Chilwell puts Chelsea ahead. And Millwall lead at Reading in the Championship. Andreas Volksammer with the penalty for the London Lions. They lead But it's 0-0 here, but Spurs have a free kick level with the edge of the penalty area, Alvin, for that challenge by John Joe Shelby that's given a free kick.
Well, it was a cheap free kick to give away in a dangerous area. Son standing over it now. It's level with the 18-yard box. It's an ideal situation for Harry Kane to attack from.
It's about 2 or 3 yards in from the far touchline. Son standing over it, just a one-man wall, which is Jesse Lingard trying to protect that near post of Keylor Navas. In it comes from Son, whips into the near post, headed wide by Romero, and there was an offside flag that went up anyway, so it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest as Sheffield Wednesday take the lead at Portsmouth in League One. 21 games unbeaten Wednesday, remember, and Josh Windass has given them the lead. Amazing run that Darren Moore's side are on.
Seems to be a real lack of conviction, doesn't it, about what they're trying to achieve here, Spurs. You know, even the free kick from Son, it's not really hit him with any real belief. Romero, there was an offside in there anyway, but Romero, you know, it's a free header and he misjudges it completely, but they're just not right. As a unit, I can't see too many Spurs players playing with, you know, the confidence that you would hope to be able to see.
Well, Davis has just hit a raking crossfield pass, looking to get Porro in behind, but it was hit a good 20 yards in front of him, made it very difficult for him to get to it, and it was easy for Renan Lodi to clear Forest lines. Burton 1, Wickham 0 in League One at the Pirelli. Got to credit some of the ground staff around the country for getting games on in the north of the country, particularly around Derbyshire, like Burton. Mansfield bit the dust yesterday, but Sheffield United getting their game on against Luton this afternoon. No mean feat. Forest Green lead Bristol Rovers in a West Country derby at the New Lawn. Charlie Savage. Duncan Ferguson going to get his first win this afternoon. Forest trying to win possession halfway up the Tottenham half, but Freuler fouls Longley. He takes the free kick backwards of square to Christian Romero, and now Dyer. Johnson trying to close down Højbjerg, and then Gibbs-White forces Longley to play the ball from left to right to pick out Christian Romero. 0-0 on Talksport 2 as we approach the quarter-hour mark. Here's Romero again, just nicking the ball in field for Skip, and Højbjerg. Alvin Martin shaking his head just to my right here.
Well, everything's, you know, so pre-orchestrated. No one's trying anything but the obvious, and you know, there's no real belief or responsibility taken on by a Spurs player on the ball at the moment, and that just stinks of a team that are lacking confidence, Dan.
And the only time we saw it was ruled offside when Skip picked out Richarlison with that terrific run. 0-0 here. Burnley lead Wigan in that Northwest derby at Turf Moor. They're not lost at home all season. Nathan Teller on loan from Southampton gives Burnley the lead. That's his 13th of the season. 0-0 here. Spurs fans, you can hear, just trying to get behind their team. Fire downfield by Porro, but straight onto the head of Aurier, who has a very easy time to nod it back to his keeper, Keylor Navas. 0-0.
Yeah, Porro on that right-hand side there, he's got the Forest player closing him down. He hasn't got any options on that. So I'm looking, where's he going to go with this? In the end, he just plays a long, hopeful ball just to get rid of the ball and the responsibility more than anything. You know, normally, when a side's playing with confidence, the man on the ball has got 3 and 4 people. Everyone's screaming. They all want the ball off him. I'm looking at this Spurs side at the moment. When a Spurs player's got the ball, you know, you might have one option, you know, 2 at the most, but that's not good enough.
0-0 here. Oxford lead Derby by goal to 0 in League One. New management at the Kazam in Liam Manning, and Sam Long's given Oxford the lead, and Stevenage doubled their lead against Walsall at Broadhall Way. Luke Norris with the second for Steve Evans' side. Back underway here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 0-0. Son inside his own half plays a lovely ball to pick out Porro, who can scamper over the halfway line and start the Spurs attack. He looks for Son again with a diagonal ball back to the edge of the area, but it was dealt with by Worrell, cleared away by Freuler, and now Morgan Gibbs-White is darting up to the halfway line, just leaves it to his left for Renan Lodi, but his passing field intended for Lingard, comfortably picked off by Oliver Skip, and now Skip looking on the right hand side for Kane, but that's intercepted by Lodi. And here comes Mangala, shows too much of that to Porro, does he? Well, he does in a way. Richarlison tidies up and finds Kane on the right hand side, midway point of the Nottingham Forest half. Hits a ball right to left, looking for the run of Davis, but that was easily picked off by Serge Aurier. 0-0 it stays.
Yeah, even Harry Kane looks like he's just out of sorts, stance. You know, there isn't a Spurs player I don't think at this moment in time, I look at it and think, yeah, you're buzzing. You're 100% of what you should be, because you're confident enough to use the ability that you've got.
Goals going in elsewhere. Swansea lead Middlesbrough by 1-0. Joel Pirot with a goal for the Swans. That's his 13th of the season. QPR lead Watford by 1-0. And Cheltenham lead at Peterborough through Tom Bradbury. And also Aldershot 0, FC Halifax 1 in the FA Trophy quarter-final. Nottingham Forest in possession. 17.5 gone on Talksport 2. 0-0 the score. Shelby allowed to drive over halfway, tries to slip in. Brennan Johnson, right-hand side of the area. Can he hook it back from the dead ball line? Not quite, and he ends up colliding with the advertising hoardings behind that goal. Just couldn't wrap his foot round it. He stayed down. He's off the field, so the physios can happily go round behind that goal and administer treatment to Johnson. It was a good ball from Shelby to get him away down that right-hand side.
It was about a 20-yard ball played with really the right weight. I don't think he could have played any lighter, but Johnson's got the pace to be able to get onto that, and it really did cause Spurs a problem. I've got to say that Romero dealt with it as well as anyone could have. He marshalled it, and it was just a little bit running away from Johnson, wasn't it? And he tried to slide in on his backside and keep it in, but he's hit that hold there. He's alright, he's up and he's running about again, but that's the sort of ball that you need to play, because the rewards are so high if you get it right.
0-0, 18.5 gone on Talksport 2. More live football tomorrow from the Championship over on Talksport at midday. Norwich City against Sunderland. We bring you more live football than anybody else. 450 live games. Here's Richarlison, right-hand side. Plays the ball into the edge of the box. It just gets away from Davis. Comes back to Harry Kane, who heads it goalwards. Harry Kane gives Spurs the lead. Finally, they break the deadlock. And wouldn't you just know it? It would be the captain who leads by example and makes the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a happier place to be. Antonio Conte tries not to show too much emotion, but Harry Kane doesn't either. He's just headed Spurs comfortably in front after a mess inside the penalty area. This one will stand. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, it's a header of real quality. You know, he knew he couldn't generate a lot of power, but he knew it had to go into that top right-hand corner. And as soon as it left his head, it was never going to get anywhere near it, Navas. Great start to the game for Tottenham. Eventually, after having one chalked off, they are now in the lead.
Just 1 goal in 7 for Harry Kane before this header. And it was beautifully timed by Kane. Jumped at the far post, sent it back from whence it came. Comfortably beat Aurier in the air, and Navas at full stretch could get nowhere near it. So Tottenham do now have the lead, and the atmosphere changes almost instantly.
That's all they want to do. They want to be able to get excited about the team that they're watching. You know, and I think they want to see goals. They want to see more than 1 goal. But you know, it hopefully will give it Spurs the platform now to go on and push on. But the crowd do need to be given something to cheer, given something to get excited about, and they haven't had a lot of that lately.
Well, Spurs' home record is pretty good. They've not drawn any of their home games in the Premier League. 9 wins and 4 defeats. And Richarlison, back in the side today, makes a run down the right-hand side, but Porro doesn't use him. Porro comes in field, been watched all the way by Lodi. Now Richarlison has it right-hand side, level with the penalty area. Nicks the ball in field to Kane, right-hand corner of the box. He was looking for Son Heung-min with the ball driven across the area. Forest get it clear. Kane picks up the loose ball. Out on the right-hand side, whips another cross into the area. And down went Davis under pressure from Aurier. Howls for a penalty kick from the north stand of the Paxton Terrace behind that goal to our left. Nothing doing, says Craig Pawson, as Davis stays down. And the fact is that it's not Davis that's down, it's Harry Kane that's down, I think. No, it's Richarlison.
Yeah, Richarlison. There was a great ball played in by Kane from that right-hand side. You know, he's obviously got himself a goal, and in that sort of right-hand channel, he plays a ball in that you wish he could be in there attacking. And it was Richarlison, I think, that went in for it. If Davis got a header on it, maybe he could have caught a decent chance for Davis. I think Harry Kane would have made a better effort for that.
Plenty of live football to come over the next few days across the Talksport network from the Premier League and the Championship and the Champions League. You've got Middlesbrough against Stoke here on Talksport 2 on Tuesday night. We'll go around the grounds on Talksport. Got 2 Premier League games on Wednesday that are not on the television, but you can get them via Talksport 2 and the app. Brighton and Hove Albion against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 Wednesday night. Southampton Brentford, exclusive to the Talksport app, which I'm sure you've got downloaded for your smartphone. If you haven't, you can download it for free, and you can easily swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2 for any of our commentaries. And Real Madrid-Liverpool in the Champions League. Can Liverpool come back from that extraordinary deficit, the 5-2 deficit? It's live on Wednesday evening over on Talksport from 7 p.m. Liverpool lost today at Bournemouth by 1-0, which means Spurs can consolidate their place in 4th with the 3 points that they're currently on their way to at the moment. Halfway through the first half, they lead 1-0. Here's Davis, level with the edge of the area. He just clips it down the left-hand side of the box and gets it back from Son. First time ball up in the air off Joe Worrell. Punched away by Navas, only as far as Skip, who tried an ambitious volley from some distance out. Forest haven't got it clear, and Højbjerg lays it off for Harry Kane, midway point of the Forest half. Turns away from Lingard, works it out to the right-hand side, and Porro up against Lodi. Whips a ball into the near post, but it's a comfortable claim for Keylor Navas. Spurs 1, Forest 0.
Very important to have the score in there and get the first goal in this game, Spurs, that they carry on. Yeah, that momentum for scoring the goal needs to be built on. You know, they might need 2, maybe even 3 today, but it's an opportunity now to build on that and look to get a second. Don't go back into your shell and just look at keeping it solid. You need to look at scoring more, because the crowd, you've got the crowd on side now. Keep them on side.
Forest Green 1, Bristol Rovers 1. Bristol Rovers equalise through John Marquis, and AFC Wimbledon lead at Doncaster in League 2 through Josh Davis, and Cheltenham 2 up at Peterborough now through Alfie May at London Road. Spurs lose possession in the centre circle. Forest have it back. Lingard, first start of 2023, but he loses possession, and Højbjerg can comfortably win it back for Tottenham. Kane on the halfway line, over on the far right-hand touchline. Just slows the game down for a moment. Derby equalise at Oxford through Louis Sibley. That's 1-1 at the Kazam in League 1. Kane looks for Oliver Skip now, just to the right of the centre circle. Fires the ball out to this near touchline for Ben Davis, playing at left wing back today. Skip again. It's too firm a pass downfield. Again, he was looking for Richarlison like he did early in the half when it was ruled out for offside. Straight into the grateful arms of Keylor Navas. 1-0 Spurs.
They're still not getting the ball into that front three as often or as good as they should be, Spurs. You know, you got Kane down the middle, Son on this left-hand side, Richarlison on the right, and the amount of service they get, I think, is poor. You know, they need more to feed on.
You're listening to Tottenham 1, Nottingham Forest 0 on Talksport 2 with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Crystal Palace against Manchester City live today for £11.99. No contract, search Now Sports. Kane for Spurs, just ahead of the centre circle. They lead by 1-0. And Kane picks out Davis just to his left, but Davis holds the ball up, doesn't advance too far forward. Kane now looks to spread play out to Porro on the right-hand side, just nods it down first time to Romero. Forest got pretty much everybody bar Johnson back behind the ball. Up back to halfway it goes. It's played infield to Skip, gives it back to Højbjerg. Porro calling for it on the far touchline, but Skip now receives it. Richarlison comes a little deeper, has to nick it back to Højbjerg. Now a diagonal ball intended for Ben Davis. Davis picks it up on this near side, rolls it infield to Skip. Forest trying to plug those gaps, Alvin Martin, making it difficult for Spurs to play through them.
I've been disappointed in Forest in the first 25 minutes, Dan.
Long ball downfield, looking for Ben Davis. Ball just skips away from him. Well hit by Højbjerg. Raking 40-yard pass again over the shoulders of the Forest defenders. Davis was the man trying to get him behind, but it just skipped off the turf and through to Navas. 1-0 Tottenham.
Yeah, I just thought that, you know, Forest may have come to a Tottenham side that are lacking confidence and gone at them more, but we haven't really seen that. We haven't seen any real I think one decent ball from Shelby that nearly got Johnson, and apart from that they've been poor offensively, and they needed to really destabilise Spurs even further.
They've given the ball away needlessly on halfway. Freuler and Lingard got in a bit of a muddle about who was going to pick up the loose ball, and Tottenham happily received it, but they've been dispossessed. And here comes Morgan Gibbs-White, but he runs into Romero, just steps across him and wins the ball back beautifully for Tottenham Hotspur. Now Højbjerg up to the halfway line. Skip being watched all the way by Mangala, so he has to go back to Romero. Højbjerg allowed to turn inside his own half, drills the ball out to Davis on this near touchline. Beautifully hit pass. Davis will move inside Lingard and pass back into the centre circle for Højbjerg. Skip again. He'll leave it for Højbjerg. Now Richarlison with his back to goal. Fouled by Felipe, spotted by Craig Pawson. That's a free kick to Tottenham, a good 35-40 yards out. Too far out, you would suggest, for an attempt on goal. 1-0.
But they should be looking at doing that more, getting the ball into the feet of Richarlison, into Kane and Son, and getting free kicks, especially anywhere around the edge of the penalty area. But, unless you're going to get the ball in, I know it's tight areas, but these players are good enough to receive it in tight areas.
Just to remind you, once we're done here on Talksport 2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, moving day in the PGA Tour, the Players' Championship from TCP Sawgrass in Florida. Russ Hargreaves will pick up the cudgels from 5 p.m. right the way through to 11, and then some bloke called Gary Lineker up front with him between 11 and midnight. Free kick to Tottenham for Son Heung-min. Bristol Rovers have turned it around against Forest Green. Forest Green 1, Bristol Rovers 2. Free kick into the area, looking for Harry Kane. It was intelligently played in by Son, and Kane tried to let the ball get across his body and volley it goalwards, but he couldn't connect.
It was a dink pass, wasn't it? A little dink from Son, and it's a really difficult one. The ball's going in front of you. You've got to try and catch up on the volley. We know he's capable of doing that, Harry Kane, but the success rate, isn't really high.
Shelby looking downfield for Lingard, but was dealt with quite comfortably at the back for Tottenham by Ben Davies. Now Forster clears left-footed downfield. Richarlison collects it on his thigh inside his own half, lays it off for Skip, and Skip spots Porro in bags of space on the right-hand side. He can move into the Forest half, looking for the run of Richarlison once again. Drives it into the box, first time of asking, but it deflected off Felipe and then Worrell. But then Forest can't clear their lines properly, and Richarlison had it back and picks out Eric Dyer. Dyer, diagonal ball out to this near side, looking for Ben Davies, but Aurier spotted the pass and nodded it out of play for a Tottenham throw. We're approaching the half-hour mark on Talksport 2. Tottenham 1, Forest 0. Oliver Skip rolls it back to Eric Dyer. And again, Porro the target out on the right-hand side. Comes in field from that far touchline, then skips neatly away from Lodi, up to the edge of the area, tried to play it into Richarlison, right-hand corner of the box, but he just couldn't find his man, and Forest hurriedly and somewhat worriedly clear their lines.
I think if Spurs really want to, I think they can really turn the heat up here, because they're looking like they're in disarray at the moment. Forest, they can't get out their own half, and they're sitting back and defending. Kane's just been pushed over. I think the two centre-halves now are starting to get fouls away as well.
Son goes for goal from 30 yards out, blocked away by Felipe, comes out to Højbjerg, clips the ball to the far post. Davies heads it up, it's going to drift wide before Richarlison can get a boot on it. It's going to be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, who last won here when a certain Mr. Dean Saunders scored at White Hart Lane in March 1997 in a 1-0 win. Stuart Pearce, another of our Talksport colleagues, played that day for the Tricky Trees. Goal kick for Keylor Navas. Half an hour gone. 1-0 to Spurs. Harry Kane with his 19th of the season. Ball headed up in the air by Ben Davies, but Worrell, the Forest centre-half, gets there on halfway. Just has to go back in for a second challenge under pressure from Son. Lodi, the left-back, will tidy up and give the ball back to the keeper, 3 times Champions League winner Keylor Navas. And under pressure from Richarlison, he found Lodi again. And now Mangala. Forest need to get some passing moves and get some consistent possession together. Mangala just shy of the halfway line. Plays it in field for John Joe Shelby. Drill pass out to this near touchline for Serge Aurier. Aurier faced up by Son, plays a 1-2 with Freuler. Now Joe Worrell, an academy product at Nottingham Forest, plays the ball down the right hand side, asking Brennan Johnson to give chase. He'll keep it in play. Tight to this near touchline, skips away from Longley, looks imploringly at the assistant, thinking he was fouled, but the assistant merely points for a goal kick to Tottenham Hotspur, taken very, very quickly. 1-0.
Antonio Conte will be more than aware that 1-0, it's still a game that's on a tightrope. If they were to nick a goal for us, the whole complexion of the game could change. But at the moment, they're having easy possession. Forest aren't causing them too many problems going back the other way, so it's a comfortable game at this stage. But that can all change, at 1-0. They need to, I think, search for a second, certainly before half-time, and turn the screw on a side that aren't really that offensive.
In the Premier League, Everton lead Brentford by a goal to 0. Chelsea 1-0 up at Leicester, and at lunchtime, Bournemouth beat Liverpool by a goal to 0. Philip Billing with the only goal. You heard it live on Talksport. We bring you 2 exclusive commentaries every Saturday afternoon across the Talksport network from the Premier League. This the second of them, with Tottenham a goal to the good against Nottingham Forest here in North London. Ball touched in field for Mangala, just keeps the ball away from Skip, fires the ball out to this near touchline. Aurier does well to keep it in play, although some of the fans down beneath us thought that went out. Lingard lays it off for Mangala just ahead of the centre circle inside the Spurs half. Felipe out to Lodi on the left hand side. Forest trying to build something here. Mangala close down swiftly by Højbjerg, but he turns away from him in the nick of time to stop Højbjerg winning the ball back. That would have launched an interesting counter-attack, because Forest had committed quite a few players forward. They still have quite a few forward here as Aurier slips the ball down the right hand side looking for Johnson, but a cross comes long late. No nonsense challenge to put it out of play for a throw. 1-0. Throw taken quickly by Aurier, driven into the box first time by Shelby. Comfortable claim for Fraser Forster. Bounced Watson in front of him, and he bowls it out to Højbjerg, midway point of his own half. Lays it left for Skip. Skip finds Kane in the centre circle, calmly lays it off to Romero. Now Porro. Kane's made a run through the middle, and he'll pick it up now just by the edge of the penalty area. Richarlison goes down under pressure from Worrell, and that's a penalty. Richarlison went down under pressure. Joe Worrell, the man that slid in, tried to make the challenge, but he got the man, not the ball. And Spurs have a chance to double their lead with 11 to the break.
Stonewall penalty. No brainer for the referee. What great play by Harry Kane, though. He takes the ball down, nutmegs somebody in the penalty area, and what Worrell's doing, I don't know. Richarlison's onto it. He knows that if the defender's going to make a challenge, all he's got to do is just nudge the ball away, go down, and it's a penalty. That's exactly what he did. Terrible defending, but Harry Kane, brilliant again. What would they do without him?
Well, he scored 20 plus goals in the Premier League in the last 5 seasons. This penalty gives him the chance to make it 20 in 6 consecutive seasons. Because of course it's Harry Kane to take the responsibility from 12 yards against Keylor Navas. Referee checking for encroachment and blows his whistle, and Kane with a 2 or 3 step run up with a chance to make it 2-0 for Tottenham. Here he comes, Kane, right footed, right into the roof of the net, down the middle. 2-0 to Spurs. 20 Premier League goals for the season for Harry Kane. An extraordinary record. Only Aguero and Shearer have scored 20 goals plus for 6 seasons in a row. Kane joins an exclusive club, and he's made Antonio Conte's afternoon that little bit calmer after what's been a tricky 10 days or so. Yeah, not even half time yet. It's Tottenham 2, Forest 0.
Very important second goal, very important, and how well taken as well. He let Navas go down to his right, and he just lifted it into the roof of the net, didn't he? Calm as you like. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's had 3 moments in this first half. The header was a fabulous header to open it up, and then you look at the way he's just created that goal for himself. Really, Richarlison nutmeg in the area, sublime bit of skill, and then he gets the benefit of being able to take the penalties. He's such a without him, honestly, I honestly don't know what they'd do. They'd be a very average side, I've got to say.
Harry Kane 2. Tottenham Hotspur 0. 9 minutes to half time on Talksport 2. Brighton lead at Leeds United. Alexis McAllister puts Brighton in front, and Chelsea have a second at Leicester. Or has it been chalked off? It's been chalked off. It's still 1-0. Ben Chilwell still gives Leicester the advantage, but it's definitely 2-0 here. And Nottingham Forest have a mountain to climb, and then some, against the Spurs team, trying to find that form, trying to find that balance and blend. Remember, they were on this points tally last season before winning 8 of their last 12 to leapfrog Arsenal and get in to the Champions League places. And here they are again, going through the gears against Forest, whose away record is so poor. Gibbs-White trying to respond for Forest, plays it down the right-hand side for Lingard. Early ball into the box, won't quite break for Mangala. Volleyed away by Højbjerg. Richarlison trying to hold the ball up on halfway. Shouldn't forget Richarlison's contribution to that second goal, drawing the challenge from Joe Worrell that led to that penalty kick scored by Kane. And now Spurs have a free kick inside their own half. And Forest needs something before half-time, you would say, Alvin Martin, desperately.
Well, I think, you look at Forest, and I think if you look at the week that Spurs have had, Dan, so if you're going to come to this ground and give it a go, surely this is the game to do it. But you can see why they've only had one win away from home all season. They've been really poor. I think they've contributed to their own downfall here, Forest.
Gillian Wong Tranmere 0 in League 2. The evergreen Sean Williams giving the Jewels the lead. Doncaster turned it round against AFC Wimbledon. Doncaster 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. And Shrewsbury lead Morecambe by 0-0. Luke Leahy, former Bristol Rovers fullback, has given Shrewsbury the lead from the penalty spot. And West Brom lead Huddersfield by 0-0 in the Championship. John Swift for the Baggies. Forest have possession with Orel Mangala. 2-0 down Forest with 7 minutes to half-time on Talksport 2. Worrell finds Serge Aurier on this near touchline, plays it in field to Gibbs-White, but his intended first touch for Johnson goes straight out of play. So it's currently Tottenham Hotspur 2, Nottingham Forest 0, and for the latest odds, head to 888 Sport, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Tottenham to win at a rather unsurprising 125 to 1 on, Nottingham Forest to come back and win 100 to 1, and the draw at 33 to 1. That's all thanks to 888 Sport. Made to challenge, made to debate, made to play. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Freuler wins the ball back for Forest inside the centre circle, but there's Harry Kane tracking back to stop him getting any further and keep possession for the hosts. And it goes out to the right hand side for Pedro Porro. Now back in field for Eric Dyer. Looks for Oliver Skipp, who's been handed the responsibility of central midfield alongside Højbjerg in the continued long absence of Rodrigo Bentancur, Uruguayan out for the season. And Skipp looks like he's relishing the responsibility that he's been given. Here's Christian Romero, just shy of the halfway line for Tottenham. Davis calling for it on this near touchline, but it won't go to him quite yet. Dyer has gone back to his right-hand side, and Christian Romero, midway point of his own half. Højbjerg sends it up to halfway. Good touch from Felipe to keep it away from Richarlison, then tried to slide it down the left-hand side for Gibbs-White, but he'd not anticipated the ball going that way. Gibbs-White ran inside, the ball went outside to the left wing, and Spurs have it back. Porro on halfway, now picked up by Richarlison, up against John Joe Shelby, one-on-one right-hand side, just comes in field, rolls it into the feet of Son. Couldn't help it round the corner to a teammate, but Forest only half clear it. It's back with Højbjerg once again, 20 yards inside the Forest half. Gets it back from Romero, teases it out to the right-hand side, and Porro. Son's made a run to the dead ball line, pulls it back. Will it reach Kane on a hat-trick? No, he can't quite get the shot in. It's hooked away desperately by John Joe Shelby. But Spurs win it back. Again, it's Skipp getting his foot in and being strong. Romero finds Eric Dyer. Spurs close to most things at the moment, Alvin Martin.
Well, I think there's only one team out there, Dan. You know, they're not really offering a challenge at the moment, are they, Forest? You know, they're sitting back, they're hoping just to contain. They're 2-0 down. They've got no goal threat whatsoever for themselves. Really, really poor. I mean, if you're Steve Cooper, you know, half-time, you're going to have to tell a few home truths there, because they've come here and surrendered up to this point.
That's Alvin Martin. You can hear former England and West Ham centre-half alongside me, Ian Danter, here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Leicester equalise against Chelsea through Patson Daka. That's 1-1, and it's also 1-1 at Ellen Road. Patrick Bamford has scored to make it Leeds 1, Brighton 1 in the Premier League. But it's 2-0 here to Tottenham Hotspur. We send the ball back to Fraser Forster. Charlton equalise at home to Accrington. That's 1-1. Steven Sessegnon And a foul on Skip by John Joe Shelvey. Hands Spurs a free kick just shy of the halfway line.
That was terrible, wasn't it, from Skip? He got a ball for enforcer, which was a good ball, but somehow he just took his eye off it. It rolled away from him, and now he's into a 50-50 because the ball's heading towards John Joe Shelvey. And Shelvey looks to be favourite. He makes up half a yard in that race to get to the ball, and it's Shelvey who in the end fouls Skip, but they're lucky and fortunate. They're still a team that aren't playing with ultimate confidence, and that's why I'm disappointed that Forest haven't taken advantage of that and come and asked a lot more questions of them.
Ball headed out of play by Renan Lodi. Hartlepool struggling in League 2, lead Northampton. Playoff chasing Northampton, indeed automatic promotion chasing Northampton. And it's Josh Umeara getting his 11th of the season. 11 goals in the struggling side. No mean feat. And Oxford won Derby 2. Derby in front through Louis Sibley at the Kazam. And Maidstone won Barnet 2 in the FA Trophy quarter-finals this afternoon. Here is Clement Longley. Bags the space on the right-hand side for Porro. Chests the ball down the right-hand side of the box. Four calling for a cross, including Kane at the near post. Tried to flick it in, but it went over the top. Got too much on it almost, Harry Kane. And it ends up being a goal kick to Forest, who trail by 2-0 as we approach half-time on Talksport 2.
Good play from Davis on this left-hand side. He opens his body up. It's a great ball into the path of Porro, and he really has a poor-faced touch, which allows the full-back to get out and put him under pressure. And because his touch wasn't bad, he delayed the cross in, which meant that Harry Kane's run took him beyond the near post and made it impossible for him to get that header on target.
Ball's on halfway with Højbjerg. Turn back to Clement Longley. Wrexham leads Southend in the National League. Stephen Arnold putting Wrexham ahead. 4 points clear at the start of the day. Wrexham. Game day exclusive here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Our second exclusive commentary of the day from the Premier League. Spurs 2 up and coming forward with Ben Davis. Kane in the centre circle. Spots Porro making a run down the right-hand side. Porro tries to get an early cross into the box. Deflected up in the air by Lodi. Might come back to Porro, but he ducked out of a challenge against Mangala, who's won it back. Lingard tries to get Morgan Gibbs-White going over the halfway line. Gibbs-White skips away from Højbjerg. Johnson calling for it to be played down the right-hand side of the box. He gets it into the near post and put behind by Romero for a Forest corner as we edge toward half-time. There's going to be 2 minutes of added time as well once we tick round in the next 20 seconds to that end of the 45.
That's the first time I think I've seen them commit any bodies forward for us, and they are there for the taking. Spurs. They're 2-0 up. They've had a really easy ride, and Forest really have allowed that. If they'd have gone at them and maybe asked a few more questions, who knows what could have happened.
Gibbs-White will have the corner down beneath us in the southwest corner. That 2 minutes of added time has now begun here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Gibbs-White raises his left arm, drills it into the near post, straight at the defender at the near post, who was Højbjerg, who heads it back from whence it came and out for a throw. Everton lead Brentford by 2-0. Massive goal for Damari Gray right on half-time at Goodison Park in the Premier League. And Shrewsbury double their lead at home to Morecambe. Robert Street makes it 2-0 to the Shrews. Forest have got this throw on the near side, level with the edge of the area. They work it back to Worrell. Worrell looking for a target up ahead, but instead he goes backwards to square to John Joe Shelvey on halfway. Bolton 0, Ipswich 1 in that big game in League 1, 5th against 3rd. George Hurst, son of David Hurst, gives Ipswich the lead at the Uniball. In stoppage time here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Forest looking to get back into this game, 2-0 down as they are. Mangala finds Gibbs-White, trying to flick it round the corner for the run of Lingard. Half cleared by Tottenham's defenders, but it goes out to Lodi, midway point of the half. Now Felipe, the centre-half, spots Aurier in a bit of space on the near side, brings it down on his instep, cuts in field, plays the ball into Shelvey. Shelvey plays a 1-2 at the edge of the area, drills it goalwards, and it's deflected wide off Skip for another corner late on in this first half to Nottingham Forest. 2-0 Spurs.
I think if Forest would have come with a little bit more adventure, then this could have been a different game. And it shows you there that they're being allowed to pass the ball. They're sitting back Tottenham, trying to get to half-time. 2-0 up, you can understand that. But really good play from them. They start moving the ball around Forest. John Joe Shelvey gives a ball, makes a run, gets it back on his left foot, and it looks like it's a strike. And it is certainly goal-bound, but it's deflected away. But more adventure, and there would have been more for them here.
Again, zonal marking from Tottenham. They're not marking the man, they're marking the space, and Forest have got loads of red shirts on their own in and around the edge of the penalty area. In it comes again from Gibbs-White, deeper corner, punched away by Forster as Felipe came flying in, and Craig Pawson blows the half-time whistle, and listen to that. Warm applause around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as the fans head to the concourses to discuss that first half. Well, what they're doing is they're consolidating their 4th spot in the Premier League. It was all a bit low tempo at first, and Richarlison had an early goal ruled out when it looked like he'd lashed Spurs ahead with his first ever Premier League goal, only for VAR to rule it out for offside against the Brazilian. But wouldn't you just know it, Harry Kane stepped up when Spurs needed him, first with a header and then with a penalty to move on to 20 goals again for a Premier League campaign. And there is clear water between Spurs and Forest at half-time here in North London. It is Tottenham Hotspur 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, double change at the start of the second half for Nottingham Forest. Andre Ayew is going to come on for Orel Mangala. Ayew just returned from a spell playing in Qatar with the Al Sadd club. And also Emmanuel Dennis, once of Watford, is going to be brought on right at the start of the second period. Just waiting to see which number he replaces. And he's coming on for Jesse Lingard, who had a pretty ineffective opening 45 minutes for Nottingham Forest. So we're back underway. Nottingham Forest in their red shirts and socks and white shorts attacking the North Stand in this second half. Spurs, the home side, in their white shirts and socks and navy blue shorts. I'll run you through the lineups in just a minute, but they're on the attack already, Spurs, with Son Heung-min, left-hand corner of the box. Just has to turn away from the penalty areas. He's forced back to the halfway line by Freuler. Has it again though, having played a 1-2 with Dyer. Out to the left-hand side, Longley finds Son again, looks to slip Richarlison inside the area. Richarlison tried a shot, but it was blocked on its way to goal by the defender Renan Lodi, and it just bobbled through to Keylor Navas. 2-0 Spurs.
See, that is a portion of play there that they've come up, and there's an agency about it, Dan. You know, there's a zip about it. They're playing quick, fast. They're flicking balls round the corner. That's what the game's all about. In the first half, it was easy for Spurs. But that's what Forest have got to do. You know, they've got players out there that can do that. Play with agency. Play with a bit of desire.
Corner needlessly conceded by Ben Davis there, under no real pressure from Brennan Johnson. So Forest have an early corner in front of their spectators in that northeast corner, down to our left hand side as we sit high up in the west stand here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Centre halves forward once again, Worrell and Felipe at the edge of the area. Again, it's zonal marking from Tottenham's defenders, who are just marking space in and around the 6-yard box. It's Johnson to fire in the corner over Worrell's head, flicked away by Eric Dyer, comes out to the left-hand corner of the area, but Freuler can't make much of it. Skip will just let the ball go behind for a goal kick. So Spurs have Forster in goal, Romero, Dyer, Longley, Porro, Skip, Højbjerg, Davis, Richarlison, Kane, Son. For Forest, it's Navas in goal, Aurier, Worrell, Felipe, Lodi, Shelvey, Freuler, and now Dennis, along with Ayew, Johnson and Gibbs-White. Ball clipped downfield by Porro, but it hits Emmanuel Dennis and goes straight out of play for a throw. Spurs have a brilliant record against promoted sides here at home. They've won 28 of 31 home fixtures in the Premier League, whether here or at White Hart Lane, against promoted sides. Indeed, their only defeat was in that year when they had to play at Wembley whilst this place was being finished, and Wolves beat them in the 18-19 season. That's their only defeat in 31 against promoted sides. And they're 2 goals to the good here with a couple of minutes gone in the second half. Shelvey for Forest on halfway finds Aurier, the former Spurs man. He gives it back to Shelvey. Aurier again moves into the Spurs half, clips it down the right hand side. Out goes Ayew, and his opposite number 34 Longley goes with him. Shelvey plays a little 1-2 with Aurier, has to go back to the halfway line, but Freuler's in a bit of space, just splitting the two Forest centre halves for the moment. Now he gives it to Joe Worrell. Worrell with a ball that's easily intercepted by Son. who can find Kane on halfway. Back to play, turns, fires it downfield looking for Richarlison, but I don't think Richarlison, either he wasn't expecting the ball or he just momentarily turned away as Kane struck the pass, and it rolls straight through to Navas. 2-0 Spurs.
Be interesting now, to see how they set themselves up, Spurs, in terms of approaching this second half. They're 2-0 up going into half time. Do they look to get a third goal, kill the game off, or do they say, okay, we're just going to play conservatively and be secure more than anything? Because if they do, they could hand a little bit of initiative to Forest.
Here's Emmanuel Dennis out on the left wing for Forest, looking to play in Lodi at the dead ball line, but he puts a bit too much on the pass and just dribbles over the dead ball line, and Spurs have themselves a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Tottenham's next 6 games after this: away at Southampton next weekend and away at Everton, 2 struggling sides, having taken to the field against Forest today, and then home games against Brighton and Bournemouth to come here. Kane just shy of the halfway line, tries to find Richarlison. Poor clearance from Lodi, and Kane can try and release Richarlison, but that's good pace from Felipe, the centre half for Forest, who got in front of Richarlison and guided the ball back to Navas. Now Shelby looks for Ayew in the centre circle. Andre Ayew turns away neatly from Dyer and shovels the ball out to this near touchline, and once again it's Emmanuel Dennis looking to have a run at Pedro Porro here. Richarlison's helping out. Pedro Porro brings down Dennis. Can't believe that the decision's gone against him, but Craig Pawson says that's a free kick, almost at the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Chance for Forest to get the ball into the danger area.
Well, at least he's shown that he can actually take somebody on one-on-one and backtrack a full-back, in this case Porro, because they didn't show any of that in the first half, and this is a half-decent position to be able to deliver from here.
Well, Morgan Gibbs-White is standing over the free kick. It is level with the penalty area, just 2 or 3 yards away from the left-hand corner of the box, and just a one-man wall for Tottenham, which is Pedro Porro, standing behind the older vanishing spray, protecting Forster's near post as he just checks with his keeper that he's in the right place. Forest holding their line at the edge of the penalty spot. In it comes to the far post. It almost broke for Ayew. Clutch of bodies went down as the Spurs player down on the goal line. I think as Christian Romero's gone down, ball went into the back of the net long after the whistle went, and Christian Romero just holding his right ankle as he slowly picks himself back up. It's going to be a free kick to Tottenham, who lead 2-0 on Talksport 2.
I'll tell you, that was Gibbs-White after that delivery with his right foot. I'd be asking why on earth nobody was able to get onto that, because it was the perfect delivery, dance. Perfect delivery. He couldn't come for it, Forster. They didn't really get ahead on it, Spurs, but there should be people in Forest shirts throwing themselves at that. Great delivery.
2-0 to Spurs, 2-0 to Burnley in the Championship. The leaders 2 up on Wigan, another for Nathan Teller, his 2nd of the afternoon and 14th of the season. Spurs have the ball with Harry Kane on a hat-trick, midway point of the Forest half, trying to loft it up to the edge of the area looking for Richarlison. Forest have enough shirts back, and there was a push on a Forest player as they tried to clear their lines. Free kick awarded by Craig Pawson. Nottingham Forest were bottom of the Premier League table during October and November, but only lost 2 of their last 8 in the Premier League before today, but failed to win their last 4. And they're staring down the barrel of another pointless afternoon here. Shelby just shy of the halfway line, into the feet of Ayew, protects the ball from Romero, claims he was fouled, but referee says play on because Forest have kept possession. Here's Lodi. He's got Dennis up ahead of him down the left wing. He's eventually found by Freuler. Now Dennis. Again, he's got 2 Spurs players for company. Skips inside Richarlison. Lays it off to Lodi. And now Freuler works it back to Felipe just next to the centre circle. Patient from Nottingham Forest here. Shelby takes over. Plays it out to the right wing. Aurier has got Brennan Johnson on the overlap, hits the ball against Longlake, wins a throw for Forest in front of those supporters who travel down from the East Midlands. 2-0 Spurs.
They're sitting back, they're not being too adventurous, are these Spurs? They're not throwing too many people forward. And they're having a lot more easier possession now, Forest. That's what they do with it now, really. If they'd wait to get another goal, we'd have game back on here.
Alvin Martin alongside me, Ian Dancer, here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 2 up. 8 minutes gone in the second half. Throw to Forest right down by the corner flag on this near side. Carlisle lead at Swindon. Carlisle up into second in League 2. A point ahead of Stevenage. And Jack Armour's given them the lead at the county ground. Throw for Lodi into the Spurs box, headed away by Romero. Forest keep the ball alive and they keep it inside the Spurs half. It's on halfway with Worrell. Swirls it out to the right hand side, and Serge Aurier, early ball up to the edge of the area, can't find Gibbs White, comfortably dealt with by Romero. Here he is again, just at the edge of the D, keeps the ball away from Ayew, and he finds Pedro Porro, holds his arms out, give me an option. Richarlison comes short, collects it just shy of the halfway line, wrestled to the ground by Renan Lodi. Easy yellow card for the referee to administer to the Forest left back. 9 gone in the second half, Spurs 2 up.
Poor defending, wasn't it? You know, but they really have to get the ball up to Richarlison. And I'll tell you what, in the front three of Tottenham, Son, Kane, and Richarlison, I've got a lot of sympathy for them, because the lack of service into them, quality service into them, is making it really difficult for them to play.
Heavy touch from Richarlison allows Shelby to come away with the ball for Nottingham Forest. Tries to drill it out to Johnson on the right hand side, but intercepted by Longley. He's just giving it straight back to Shelby, and now Longley's backpedaling as Johnson picks it at right hand corner of the penalty area. Goes on the outside of Longley, still going to the byline, but he can't wrap his foot around the ball, but it has gone out for a corner off a Spurs boot.
Well, Longley was very, very fortunate there, because he's one-on-one with Johnson. Johnson's beaten him, but he's fortunate Longley. That's it. It was Højbjerg, I think, wasn't it? Just in close contact with him, was able to double up on Johnson at the precise moment he was going to cross.
Gibbs White again with the set piece. This time a corner from the right hand side in front of those Forest fans in the northeast corner. Again, nobody in Spurs white marking anybody in Forest red. In it comes, whipped to the near post. Højbjerg flicks it out to the edge of the area. Shelby tries the volley, shanks it horribly out to the left hand side. Might stay in play though, and Forest will keep it alive with Dennis up against Skip. Rolls it back to about 25 yards out. Now Felipe finds Dennis again, trying to drop his shoulder and get away from his man. Couldn't do so. Throw to Tottenham, who lead 2-0. Swansea 1, Middlesbrough 1 in the Championship. Aaron Ramsey, I think that's 3-2 for the Villa loanee to equalise at the Swansea.com stadium. And Sheffield United in second are trailing at home to Luton Town. Carlton Morris with his 15th of the season. What an excellent campaign he's having for the Hatters. Sheffield United 0, Luton Town 1. Navas for Nottingham Forest. Plays the ball out to the left-hand side and taken off Felipe's toe by Richarlison. Just slips by the corner flag, but he manages to work the ball back to Porro, level with the edge of the area. Finds Richarlison again down the right-hand side of the box. Can he find a teammate? Pulls it back to Son on the penalty spot. Shot blocked by the chest of Shelby. Anywhere will do for Forest to get it out of harm's way, and it's volleyed away by Felipe, who made a right Horlicks of that by dawdling after the loose ball and allowing Richarlison to almost pick his pocket, Alvin Martin.
Well, I think when you look at the options that Tottenham have got and Conte has got, in terms of forwards, you've got to say Richarlison is still surely one of his preferred options. He has to be, and I think he's done enough today to show that he has got, probably in terms of confidence, an advantage over the other people that could play in that position.
12 gone in the second half. You're listening to Tottenham 2, Nottingham Forest 0 on Talksport 2 with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Ian Dancer and Alvin Martin with you. Pedro Porro down this near side, the Spurs right as they attack the giant south stand to our right. But he runs into Felipe. It's brought away by Emmanuel Dennis. Good ball up to halfway, and Gibbs White tries to burst clear of Højbjerg, who brings him down. Free kick for Nottingham Forest. Nothing more, no yellow card for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg for that challenge, although I think Gibbs White was half expecting one to head his opponent's way, but Forest have a free kick.
Yeah, he certainly looked a lively customer on this left hand side since he came on the field, doesn't he, Dennis? He's offered them a little bit of a one-on-one sort of problematic play for Spurs, and I think because of that, I think Gibbs White has come into the game more than Johnson.
Coventry 0, Hull 1. Oscar Estepinian puts Hull in front. They won on Talksport 2 last weekend. Here's Forest in the area with Felipe trying to hook the ball across the face of goal, just couldn't keep it down. It was the right hand corner of the 6-yard box when it dropped for him. tried to hook it goalwards, but got a bit too much on it. Goes behind for a Spurs goal kick. 2-0 Tottenham lead.
Well, at least Forest now are getting people into areas that can cause a problem. Numbers forward, and that was just a long ball played in there. Felipe found himself in an unfamiliar territory, didn't he? Just tried to hook the ball back into the danger zone and ended up getting it wrong. But, it's only going to take one goal. And if they were to get a goal, you can see the Tottenham team and certainly the Tottenham supporters that, they would really rattle them. And then, the game would become much more difficult for them.
Kane inside his own half, looks for an early pass, brilliantly done to find Pedro Porro, who's isolated Lodi, attacking the right hand corner of the box. Early ball in, it deflects off Lodi and actually makes the claim easier for Keylor Navas. Goodness me, Middlesbrough have turned it around in very short order at Swansea. They now lead 2-1. Cameron Archer, another Villa loanee, as with Aaron Ramsey, has put Borough in front. Remember Sheffield United losing at home to Luton Town at the moment in that race for an automatic place in the Premier League next season. Nottingham Forest looking to retain their Premier League status in their first year back. But they're 2-0 down here. Ayew turns away from a couple of challenges, does well, good strength from Andre Ayew. Plenty of red shirt sports in this attack. Dennis, left hand corner of the penalty area, looks to shift inside Skip, but Skip takes it off his toe, and now Forest can have to get players back because Spurs have got 5 up in a counter-attack. Richarlison looking for Christian Romero, who's joined in. Romero down to the dead ball line, gives it back to Richarlison, right-hand corner of the penalty area, taking on 2 Forest players. Gets to the byline and loses out to Joe Worrell. And Worrell will just clear his lines, and Dennis chests it down to Gibbs-White. Here's Morgan Gibbs-White, flicks it out to Brennan Johnson. It's end-to-end at the moment. Forrest coming forward with Brennan Johnson. Drives it goalwards. Good save low down by Fraser Forster. Not sure whether that's the first shot that Forest have had genuinely on target, but Forster was equal to that low drive from Brennan Johnson. An hour gone, Spurs 2-0 up.
I feel a bit angry that they didn't come with this sort of urgency from the start of the game for us, because we would have had a really good game on our hands. They've decided to turn up at last and throw people forward. And you can see Gibbs-White there getting the ball to Johnston. They look really dangerous down that right-hand side now.
More live football for you tomorrow over on Talksport from the Championship. Should be a good game at high noon. Norwich City against Sunderland. Our coverage starts at 11:30 after the warm-up. And then next week we've got EFL action live, Middlesbrough Stoke. We've got Champions League on Wednesday on Talksport, Real Madrid against Liverpool, and Premier League as well. Back to that in a moment, because here comes Spurs on the counter-attack. Richarlison into the box, looking for Son. Hooked away by Worrell, only as far as Richarlison at the dead ball line. Chips it up to Son, brings it down brilliantly, 3-0. Richarlison now belatedly hugs Son Heung-min because he just walked away, having set up that goal, trudging away, looking unhappy with his work. But Son Heung-min goes straight to his teammate to thank him for what was a delightfully played dink over the Forest rear guard. And wow, ice in his veins, Son Heung-min took the ball down, had so much time to plant the ball along the deck into the back of the net, and that surely is 3 points staying here in North London. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, just as Forest was starting to throw people forward, it looked like they might have a goal in them. Spurs have actually finished the game off, haven't he? Surely that. Again, it's Richarlison down this right-hand side, and he certainly, at the start of this second half, has got a lot better service, and he's made a lot of good use of it as well. A searching ball the first time round, then he comes back to him, he thinks it again, but Son does really brilliantly there. Poor defending from Aurier. He just stops it on his thigh, and really makes it look a really easy finish when it's everything but. Nutmegged Shelby in the process, and 3-0 and game over, you must think.
He'd only scored 1 Premier League goal in 21 starts before today, Son Heung-min. Been such a strange season for the South Korean. Scored 23 last year for Tottenham. He's certainly not going to hit those heights this year, but Spurs are consolidating their 4th spot.
Just what the doctor ordered as well from Conte's point of view. You wanted a game where you weren't going to be tested, stretched, asked too many questions of, and now they've got the 3 goals, they can enjoy the rest of the game, and maybe just regain a little bit of confidence, which they obviously have been lacking and are still lacking.
3-0 then to Tottenham. Emmanuel Dennis tries to respond for Nottingham Forest at the edge of the area, runs into a couple of white shirts, one of which is Porro, who just hooks it away. Leeds 1, Brighton 2. What a run Brighton are on. 1 defeat in 10. Solly March has put them 2-1 up at Ellen Road. Shelby with a cross into the area, headed up onto the roof of the net by Christian Romero, so it will be another Forest corner. A few high fives between the defenders. Now they want the clean sheet. You'll know what that's all about, Alvin Martin.
I've got to say, when the third goal goes in, that's as a player, you think, okay, now I can enjoy the game. I can celebrate, the third goal, especially against a team that doesn't look like it's got, that much about it today.
Gibbs White will eventually have the corner kick, but there's a Forest player down. It's Brennan Johnson, who's sitting down inside the Tottenham penalty area. I'm not sure whether he wants some treatment or he's just he's not happy with something. Brennan Johnson, he's back on his feet now, and Chris Wood's going to come on shortly anyway, another recent arrival at the City ground. Forest will take this corner. Johnson's hands on hips, looking decidedly unhappy at the edge of the Spurs box. Here comes Gibbs White with the corner into the near post, comfortably headed away by Ben Davis. Shelby will retrieve the loose ball and work it back to halfway. Lodi up to the edge of the area, just over the head of Joe Worrell, and they'll allow it Spurs to drift behind for a goal kick. We'll see whether Steve Cooper decides whether now is the time to make the change. You're listening to Tottenham 3, Nottingham Forest 0 on Talksport 2 with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Crystal Palace versus Manchester City, live today for £11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Son Heung-min careering away down the left-hand side, gets to the dead ball line, has to go along the dead ball line, get away from Aurier. He did get away from Aurier, and he was fouled right at the edge of the penalty area, so close to being inside the 18-yard box. But luckily, from Serge Aurier's point of view for Forest, it wasn't deemed a penalty. It's a free kick to Tottenham. It's a bit like a short corner in hockey. 3-0 they lead.
Yeah, I think the thing was with Son, I'm always impressed with it. It hasn't gone his way this year. The goals haven't been as frequent as he would have liked, but he never stops working, does he? He always puts a shift in for his team.
Oh, he doesn't hide. Never hides. And he's standing over this free kick. Richarlison just having a conversation with Longley around the penalty spot. Kane, Romero and Dyer in the 6-yard box, so Son can whip this in right-footed into that 6-yard area and try and cause a bit of panic in the Forest rear guard. Approaching the midway point of this second half on Talksport 2. Spurs 3 up, and it's Son's free kick. Also you got Davis lurking at the edge of the area, goes to the far post. Kane nods it down but can only find a Forest player, and Dennis is fouled quite crudely by Davis, and it will be a free kick to Nottingham Forest inside their own penalty area. Here comes another double change. I mentioned Chris Wood was coming on, and he is, but also Ryan Yates, an academy product, recently back from injury. He's going to come on for Remo Freuler, and Brennan Johnson, who, as I mentioned, was sat down looking like he was nursing an injury a couple of minutes ago. He's come off, so a double change. Chris Wood and Ryan Yates on for Forest as they try and get something out of this game. 3-0 down with a quarter of the game to go on Talksport 2.
Yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, Dan, but I just wonder, in hindsight, Steve Cooper could have picked a different team. He might have put Wood up front and played two quickies behind him, because certainly playing the pacey front three never ever worked for them.
That's what he played against Everton when Forest got themselves a 2-2 draw. It was Wood with Johnson and Gibbs White in behind him. Barnsley lead Plymouth by a goal to 0. Adam Phillips with the goal for the Tonics. What a run they're on 7 out of 9, Barnsley. And Bristol Rovers 3-1 off at Forest Green now. John Marcus with the second. Most definitely not going Duncan Ferguson's way in his first job in full-time management. Porro trying to get away down the right-hand side for Tottenham. 3-0 up. Brought half cleared by Dennis, but what a challenge by Oliver Skipp. Although it's been decided eventually by Craig Forson that that's a foul.
It took a long time thinking about that,
and it's going to be a yellow card as well for Oliver Skipp for that challenge. But you're right, Alvin Martin. He ummed and ahed over what to do with that challenge.
May have got it right, you know, in real time. But certainly it was a ferocious challenge. But it looked like he got all the ball there. Two people going over the ball. Skip comes in late. Yeah, he's looked at it and thought, well, he did get the ball, but was it a dangerous one? I can see why he's seen it that way. Sometimes I don't agree with the ref, but I can see it.
Dennis just explaining his displeasure with that challenge to Antonio Conte, who...
If I'd have made the challenge, I wouldn't have been happy. I must admit, if that had been gone the other way against me. Because, you know, you'd think, OK, I've gone in, 100%, I've got the ball. But, no. I think, to be fair, the referee has had a decent game today. Was he got one booking out before that?
Yep.
No, it's not been littered, has it? He hasn't, you know, I can't remember him being involved in the game too much. So from that point of view, he's had a good game.
Well, now Craig Fawson's having a word on this near touchline with Antonio Conte, reminding him, I presume, of his responsibilities, because he just had a frank and open exchange of views with Emmanuel Dennis just a moment or so ago down beneath us. Meanwhile, Derby lead 3-1 at Oxford. Sam Long gets an own goal this time. He'd scored for Oxford, now he scored an own goal to put Derby further clear at the Kazam. I wonder whether Liam Manning's up in the stands watching that. He was officially announced this morning as the new Oxford boss. Maybe a watching brief for him this afternoon as he takes over from Carl Robinson. Just over 20 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 0. And Forest's miserable away record looks to be continuing. Remember, they've only scored 3 goals on their travels all campaign. Ayew is fouled this time by Eric Dyer at the edge of the centre circle. He can't believe that the decision's gone against him, Dyer. And he gets a yellow card as well. So suddenly the yellow cards are starting to pile up a little bit here for Tottenham.
Well, I think Longley should take responsibility for that yellow card. What he was doing there, I don't know. He brings the ball down his chest and then plays it into a silly area just behind Dyer, but he's already under pressure, and Dyer has to foul the Forest player to try and stop the move going forward. So it's Longley really who should take that yellow card. That's what I'll be saying to him anyway.
Newport equalised through an own goal against Bradford City. That's 1-1 at Rodney Parade. Grimsby 1-0 up on Rochdale. George Lloyd with the goal for the Mariners against Rochdale. Got their first win in 10 last time out. Still 4 points adrift of safety at the bottom of League 2. So Forest have a free kick just ahead of the centre circle inside the Tottenham half.
I've just got to give a bit of credit to the referee, Craig Pawson. There's been a bit of pushing and shoving, and Højbjerg went down there as if he'd been, you know, hit with a truck, and he told him to get up and stop being silly. I love to see a referee doing that, and he just got up straight away.
Shelvey with the free kick, nodded back across the edge of the area by Worrell. Swing and a miss by Gibbs White, comes back out to Shelvey in the middle of the Tottenham half. Dennis, dispossessed by Richarlison, knocks the ball back to the edge of his own penalty area. That could have been tricky for Tottenham, but tidied up by first Romero and then Porro. Skip, crossfield ball out to Ben Davies, who can run into the Forest half of the field. Son now picks it up off him. Davies has gone ahead of Son, whips an early ball into the box. It's headed out for a throw back from whence it came by Joe Worrell. Bolton 0, Ipswich 2 now in League 1. And it's Cameron Burgess with the second for the Tractor Boys. And Crawley 3-0 upon Harrogate now. What an afternoon they're having, the Sussex club. No winning 8, but going to put that right this afternoon. Jordan Much with the third for Crawley. Now there's another Forest player gone down. It's Chris Wood, not long on as a substitute, who's sat down inside the Tottenham, the Forest half of the field.
He got a knock really early on after coming on. He went down in the penalty area. It looks like his left thigh, and you can see he wasn't happy.
Yeah, the sub is being subbed here. Nico Williams is going to come on, Alvin. So another reshuffle up front for Forest.
Yeah, it was. I've just seen a replay of that injury too, Wood, and what it was Longley who actually got a ball back to the keeper, and then his right studs went into the thigh of Wood. I don't know if he's had a cut there or he's got some sort of a muscle damage, but you can see he's a big lad, isn't he? He's not going to go down very easily, and it was an unfortunate incident from their point of view. It's been a bad afternoon, hasn't it, all round for Steve Cooper?
It has not gone Forest way at all. But as Alvin Martin said, was the approach right from the off for Nottingham Forest to give Tottenham Hotspur something to think about after all their trials and tribulations of going out of 2 cup competitions and losing to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League last weekend. All that has been forgotten about for the time being. They're 3-0 up as Pedro Porro wins a corner kick. Not one minute Spurs in this game. Lodi putting the ball behind, and so a corner to Spurs at the South Stand end as they lead 3-0 here on Talksport 2.
It's been easy for them as well. It's been an easy game. I think the front three have done themselves justice today. Kane, Richarlison, Son. I think skipping midfield has been very good, but there's still a lot of repair work to be done. But this will go, fair way to that. You win a game like this, a big game, an important game, 3-0. It will restore a certain amount of confidence.
Son with the right wing corner, whipped into the near post. It's headed towards goal by Longley, bounced in front of Navas, and he claimed it underneath his crossbar and bowls it out underarm to allow Yates to bring the ball forward, the substitute for Forest. He's going to lay it off to Ayew out on the right wing. Ayew comes in field. Now Gibbs-White making a run through the centre. Ayew doesn't use it. Instead he uses it as a decoy. Keeps hold of it, Ayew, and then spreads play out to this near side, the Forest left, and Dennis. He lays it off to Lodi. Backward to square it goes to Felipe, the centre half. Yates again showing for it, midway point of the Spurs half. Out to the right hand side, and Williams gets his first involvement. Fires in a cross along the deck, cleared away by Romero. And then Højbjerg and Longley, they're getting a bit of a mess. Gibbs-White has it inside the area, right hand side, gets to the dead ball line, tries to pull it back, but could only find Eric Dyer's shoulder, and Forest do win the ball back. Yates out to Williams, right hand side. Another early cross from Nico Williams, flicked away by Romero to the far post where Dennis picks it up for Forest. 3 Tottenham players in his vicinity, and Richarlison ends up putting the foot in and concedes a corner to Nottingham Forest. Spurs 3, Forest 0.
So you see, when you do put Spurs under pressure, Dan, you can see that they have a little bit of a wobble here and there, don't they? On the edge of the box, they're dwelling on the ball there. They're putting a bit of pressure, and then if giving it away, can't get the ball up to Kane with any quality. It's nicked off him. If they'd have come here with that sort of attitude and intensity, Forest, we could have seen a completely different picture.
Gibbs-White with this latest corner for Tottenham at the North Stand end. Right-footed in-swinger to come. Shelby lurking at the edge of the area, and it comes from Gibbs-White, and it's a brilliant save by Forster to deny Aurier, who tried to get a goal against his former club. Great header at the near post, but a flying one-handed save from Fraser Forster means it's merely another Forest corner, 3-0.
Yeah, good delivery, a free header. I've got to say a free header, but what a great save. It really was spectacular. That heading to the top corner, nobody on the line, so it was an important save.
Another corner for Morgan Gibbs-White. Another right-footed in-swinger for the Forest number 10. Again, it's a near-post delivery, headed up and out by Richarlison. Williams will pick up the loose ball for Forest. But he's going to go back in field for Aurier. Aurier will put the ball back into the Spurs box. Felipe drops for Dennis at the far post, blocked on its way to goal, and Spurs will hurriedly clear their lines. Will it stay in play on this near side? Gibbs-White trying to protect it, and in the end he's dispossessed by Porro and fouls him, so Spurs get a free kick. It's currently Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 0. And for the latest odds, head to 888 Sport, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Harry Kane as the next goal scorer to make it a hat-trick. That's 4-1. Son as next goal scorer to get a brace. That's 7-1. And if you fancy Richarlison, who had one disallowed earlier, to be the next goal scorer, that is 8-1. That's all thanks to 888 Sport. Made to challenge, made to debate, made to play. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Emmanuel Dennis drifting down the left-hand side for Nottingham Forest again. Runs into a bit of a cul-de-sac though. Leeds equalise against Brighton. 2-2 at Ellen Road, Jack Harrison. And Coventry equalise against Hull in the Championship. That's 1-1, Matty Godden. Richarlison shows too much of that to Lodi on halfway. But Richarlison's gone again down the right-hand side, and he's taken Felipe out with him. Tries to get inside Felipe, but the centre-half took the ball off the Tottenham number 9, but the clearance only goes as far as Ben Davis. Infield to Skip. Now Son, almost at the edge of the D. Kane to his left. Kane protects the ball. Drifts down the left-hand side of the penalty area. gives it back to Son at the left-hand corner. Whips the ball in, headed goalwards by Davies, and a brilliant save by Navas as Richarlison came flying in the 6-yard box. I'm not sure whether Richarlison got a touch, but Navas did superbly to turn it around the post for a Spurs corner, 3-0.
And Son and Kane there interacting. You know, whenever them two are in close proximity, Spurs look, you know, like a side that can flow and ebb. You know, a great ball in by him there, Son. You know, he's sort of, it's not a shot, he's trying to get into that far post. It gets flicked on once, and as you say there, the keeper has to read that, get down low to his left, and makes a great save.
Ends up being a corner kick to Tottenham Hotspur with 12 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Down to our right-hand side at the south stand end. Son Heung-min deliberately placing the ball at the edge of the quadrant. Richarlison and Kane lurking just to the left of the penalty spot. Longley and Romero in there as well. Man-to-man marking on those 4 players from Forest. In it comes from Son, headed out of the near post by Aurier. Bit of a swing and a miss kick from Højbjerg, but will allow Nottingham Forest to try and counter. Gibbs White still inside his own half. Oh, he's lost it to Højbjerg. Højbjerg drifting in field up towards the edge of the area, tries to play it into the box, drops for Son. Great save, Navas got low down to his left so quickly and made an instinctive save to deny Son a second and Spurs a fourth.
They're all over the place now, Forest, really are, and you know, Højbjerg, once he'd nicked that ball, he did well to drive forward, and the ball eventually is landed at the feet of Son, and he just looks sharper all of a sudden, doesn't he? He looks at, you know, a player that's starting to really find his feet again.
Swansea 1, Middlesbrough 3 in the Championship. Chuba Akpom makes it 22 goals for the season to seal the points for the Borough. Peterborough 0, Cheltenham 3. Alfie May gets a second of the afternoon for Cheltenham. And we've got 10 minutes to go. Don't forget the full-time phone-in with Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Ogbonlahor over on Talksport at 5:30. Your chance to react to all the action this afternoon. Your first chance anywhere on national radio. 03717 223344. And at 10:30 tonight, as Dan Windle mentioned at half-time, game day, the reaction. We'll go through all the stories of the day at 10:30 tonight to recap another busy day in the Premier League and the EFL and beyond. Corner kick to Nottingham Forest meantime. I think it's their 8th of the game. Gibbs White to strike it. And it drops to the far post and they've got one back. Joe Worrell unmarked at the far post, a rare away goal for Nottingham Forest. It may not mean a great deal. They've got one back with 9 minutes to go. Good pace on the corner kick from Gibbs White, and Worrell bullet header at the far post with nobody near him. Spurs 3, Forest 1.
Well, they've had 4 deliveries from exactly the same side of this corner, and everyone's gone in the same spot, so they knew where the ball was going to get delivered to Tottenham, but he just can't deal with it. He comes out for it first, it gets nowhere near, and then it's an easy header from that moment.
Their 4th goal in away fixtures this season, Nottingham Forest.
Two substitutions coming on here. No, I just wonder if one of them will be Richarlison. Will he take him off?
Quite possibly. And that is Joe Worrell's first ever Premier League goal. It may only prove to be a consolation. Kulusevski and Lucas Moura are waiting to be introduced. 8 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Got 2 games in midweek that are not on TV from the Premier League, which you can hear on Talksport 2 and exclusively as well on the Talksport app. It's on Wednesday where you have the option of Brighton against Palace on Talksport 2 or Southampton Brentford on the app. Spurs coming forward. Cross from the left, drops for Porro, right hand side of the penalty area, tries to pull it back. And it came off Dennis and went behind for a corner, but there was a Forest player down inside the box, just picking himself up. It was Renan Lodi who was injured, and play was stopped by the referee.
It looks like he's going to make a double substitution here, Conte. I wonder if he'll take Richarlison and maybe Kane off, and like for like.
Well, it's all coming at roses for Spurs here. They're 3-1 up, so are Chelsea. They're 3-1 up at Leicester. Mateo Kovacic with the third. And Fleetwood equalise at home to Port Vale. That's 1-1 at Highbury in League One. Jack Marriott with the equaliser. And Swindon equalise at home to Carlisle United. That's 1-1. Tyrese Shade for the Robins. And it's going to be Richarlison indeed and Son that are going to be coming off, Alvin, when these substitutions are made. They're being made now. So Richarlison gets a warm round of applause for his efforts this afternoon. Thought he'd scored his first Premier League goal right at the get-go when he slammed the ball into the roof of the net, but it was ruled out for offside. He comes off, gets a hug from his manager. That's nice to see. And so Kulusevski comes on to replace him, and Lucas Moura comes on for Son Heung-min. So like-for-like replacements for Antonio Conte with 6 minutes of normal time to go. Gillingham 2, Tranmere 0 in League 2. No winning 3 for the Gills before today, but Conor Masterson has doubled their lead at the Priestfield. And York 0, Altrincham 2 in one of the FA Trophy quarter-finals. Don't forget non-league finals day, Sunday the 21st of May at Wembley, where the FA Vase and FA Trophy both get played together. Very best coverage on the Talksport network. Sheffield Wednesday still 1 up at Portsmouth, but they've had a man sent off. Dominic Iorfa's been given a second yellow card. 2 lemons make a strawberry. He's off. Still Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 up at Portsmouth. Well, there's a Spurs player down now holding his nose.
Is it Longley?
I think it's Clement. It is Clement Longley. Got caught by a accidentally flailing arm from Morgan Gibbs-White. 5 minutes to go. And what many suspected could be a comfortable afternoon for Tottenham Hotspurs proved Alvin Martin to be exactly that.
Yeah, look, it's been an afternoon that they needed, didn't they, Spurs? Conte needed it, an easy win, 3 points. Look at the fixtures coming up, put a run together, and you navigate your way out of a really tricky part of the season.
Kane looking to release Porro down the right-hand side as play restarts. Kulusevski now involved early on. Moura's waiting at the edge of the area. Back it goes to Romero. Dyer plays the ball into the feet of Kane. Still on a hat-trick, don't forget Harry Kane. Skip sees the ball ricochet off Emmanuel Dennis's boot and out of play for a throw to Nottingham Forest on this near side. So with these 3 points, Alvin, it's a 6-point gap between Spurs and Liverpool. Spurs having played a game more.
It's a big day for them. Look, this could have been a tricky game. I think if Steve Cooper would have come here and had a lot more intent in terms of the way he set his team up, it could have been a tricky game. They could have found this difficult, and Liverpool could have won at Bournemouth. You'd have had a completely different picture, wouldn't you? But the result at Bournemouth going for Tottenham, them winning this game now 3-1, I'm sure they are going to win it. Then you move on to the next one. They're not at the woods yet, Dance, but it's a big game to navigate, like I said.
Hartlepool 1, Northampton 1. Sam Hoskins gets his 18th of the season to get Northampton level at struggling Hartlepool in League 2. 3 minutes of normal time to play here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Nottingham Forest do have a goal to show for their second half efforts, but they're still 3-1 down. Worrell in possession. Midway point of his own half. Flicks it out to the right hand side, and Serge Aurier into the feet of Ayew. Good strength from Ayew, and he was caught from behind by Eric Dyer and wins Forest a free kick just inside the Spurs half.
Dyer's another player, Dance. I've been watching him closely this afternoon, and he's not right either. You can see the ball's just popping off him. His first touch is the sharpness in mind and body isn't quite there, and he's not the only Spurs player that's going to have to find a way over the next sort of 6-7 weeks of getting back to their best.
Shelby with the free kick for Forest, right on halfway, deep into the penalty area. It's headed out by Spurs, and Kulusevski trying to protect the ball and does well to bring it away under pressure from Dennis, and across comes Nico Williams as well, and between the two of them they win the ball back for Forest. And here's Dennis. Then he gets clipped by Kane, does he? No, the ball was won cleanly, says Craig Pawson. And now Kane moves down the right wing for Tottenham, plays the ball in field, little touch from Højbjerg, gives it back to Kane, right hand corner of the box. Kane drifting down the right hand side of the area, lofts it to the far post, Moura heads it across the face of goal. Navas went for a dive, didn't get it, and it's headed down by skip for Kulusevski now, right hand corner of the box. Tottenham still pressing. Kulusevski drives it across the 6-yard line, but straight at Aurier, who can bring it away.
Great play again by Kane. He's a thinking man's player, isn't he? He really is. When he's there, it looks like he's got nowhere to go. He's driving down. He's on the byline, and he just dinks the ball to the far post. He knows it's going to be, Spurs player that would take up that position. And like I say, he's a thinking man's footballer.
He's got 2 this afternoon, Kane, after 1 in his previous 7. That will do in the power of good. Shrewsbury 3, Morecambe 1. Che Dunkley for the Shrews, who started the day 9th in League 1. Into the last minute of normal time. Spurs 3, Forest 1. Nico Williams drives for the byline for Forest, but he can't get past 2 challenges, and Kane lets the ball run across his body and feeds it out to Kulusevski on halfway. Just slows down for a moment, Kulusevski. Thought about making a run down the right hand side himself, but just playing out time here, you would suggest. Tottenham Hotspur 3-1 up and cruising towards 3 very important points on the day where Liverpool, remember, have lost at home. There's going to be 4 minutes of minimum stoppage time to come when the board goes up in just a moment here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Good ball from Skip to find Højbjerg, but Yates was pulling him back, and so a quickly taken free kick, but from the wrong position, says Craig Pawson, so Tottenham will have to go again.
Fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes added time.
You hear the announcement about the 4 minutes minimum extra time to be added on here. And the free kick's taken out to the Spurs right, the near side to us. Porro down the right side of the box for Kulusevski. Chops onto his left foot, tries to shot goalwards. It's blocked by a combination of Dennis and the goalkeeper Navas. Lovely skill from the Swede, but he just couldn't get the shot away.
No, but they're looking like they're playing with a lot more comfort now, aren't they? A lot more enjoyment. There's 3-1 up. They know the game's won now, really, and they start to relax a little bit. That's when players do play their best football.
Yeah, no.
Silly that. At this stage of the game, why has he done that, Højbjerg?
Foul on Aurier by Højbjerg, and another yellow card for a Spurs player. Aurier got away from him just over the halfway line, so it will be a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Don't forget TPC Sawgrass, the Players' Championship, the unofficial 5th major. Our golf coverage continues here on Talksport 2 straight after this commentary. Don't think Rory McIlroy made the cut, or he might not be about to. I think they've got to play out the full second round because there was a weather problem yesterday in Florida. That's next. Forest have a free kick into the box. Felipe goes up with the header but can't direct it goalwards. Thump downfield. Can Lucas Moura get there first? Shelby gets there just before him on halfway. It's gone from bad to worse for Leicester City. They're now down to 10 men. Wout Faes has been given a second yellow card. They're 3-1 down at home to Chelsea. Dyer puts the ball out of play for a late Nottingham Forest corner. That's one thing they've had a lot of this afternoon, Nottingham Forest. Alvin Martin, that's corners.
Yeah, that's right, and the delivery has been decent.
Well, they're taking this one short, and Gibbs White at the right-hand corner of the penalty area, trying to get away from Højbjerg, making it difficult for him. Can still dig out across though. Good cross, drops to the far post. Worrell heads it back into the 6-yard box, cleared by Dyer, and then it drops for Shelby at the edge of the area, tries a snapshot, and it goes a good yard or 2 wide, and that'll be a goal kick for Tottenham Hotspur. 3-1 up they are.
Yeah, I'm looking at Shelby. I'm not so sure. That he and Forrest are a good fit. He's a good footballer, John Joe Shelby. He's got a range of passing, but just play quite deep. It slows it down. I just wonder if that's the way that he's going to move forward with his team. Steve Cooper. He's coming off, and he's had a really good game, hasn't he?
Oliver Skip is coming off. Stepping up to the plate in the absence of Bentancur and getting a warm round of applause, as you can hear around this stadium. Pape Sarr's going to get a few seconds run out in the Spurs midfield. Burton 2, Wickham 1. Chida Bar for Wickham. Could be too late at the Pirelli. VAR is taking a look at something. Don't know quite what. Checking a possible penalty for handball. And we're looking for a possible handball from a Spurs player. It was Kulusevski who, well, he moved his arm toward the ball as Emmanuel Dennis chested it down. His arm is away from his body, and it's right on the line. What would you say, Alvin Martin? You're looking at the replay, same as me.
I don't know what their interpretation of these incidents are anymore. You know, they baffle me sometimes with the conclusion that they come up to. Because I don't think that's a, I don't think that's a penalty. But these days, who knows?
Well, VAR has had a look, and they're telling Craig Pawson to go to the pitch side monitor on the far side of the field from us to go and check in the referee review area as to what he thinks.
Well, we usually know what that means.
That means it's going to be a penalty. So Pawson, hands on hips, stands opposite us, has a look as it's chested down, and it does look like it's pushed away by the left forearm, and it is going to be a penalty for Forest. They're going to have a chance to reduce the arrears to 1 here. Late on with a penalty kick, Kulusevski is penalised.
Well, if it had been 10 minutes extra time, this could have been a pretty uncomfortable ending to the game for Spurs.
Well, it's going to be eventually, I think, Andre Ayew that's going to take the penalty kick. Fraser Forster being reminded of what he's got to do. Dyer standing next to the keeper. Barnsley have got a third against Plymouth. What a great win for the Tykes. Nicky Cadden late on. Barnsley 3, Plymouth 0. That's fourth against second in League One. Big win for Barnsley. So a penalty for Andre Ayew to get Forest back within 1 of their hosts. Paces back very deliberately 3 or 4 steps. Andre Ayew up against Fraser Forster. Left-footed penalty to come from Ayew, and he's saved by Forster, and that just about sums up Nottingham Forest's afternoon as Spurs come piling forward on the break with Pedro Porro pushed down by Emmanuel Dennis. Free kick. Well, there you go, Alvin. Does that sum up Nottingham Forest's day?
Yeah, absolutely. Really poor penalty. But I honestly look at Forest here today, and you think, well, you know, going into the remainder of the season, you can't see them winning many games with this sort of attitude, with this sort of a layout of a team, because they've been poor, and this has been an easy afternoon. Look, it could have been 3-2, but I don't think that was a penalty. I think there was a stroke of luck maybe there that it wasn't intentional handball, but that would not have told the story of the game if it had ended 3-2, because they've not been anywhere near Spurs.
Finally, the substitution that was going to be made before the penalty was awarded by VAR has been made by Spurs, so Pape Sarr on for Oliver Skipp. Oxford 2, Derby 3. Derby still looks to be getting all 3 points at the Kazam. Carl Joseph gets a late goal for Oxford. Free kick to Tottenham just inside the Nottingham Forest half. Rolled in field by Christian Romero. Gives Pape Sarr a touch of the ball. There can't be long left. 4 minutes have long since elapsed. It's down to Craig Pawson as to how much more to add on. And a foul by Pedro Porro from Emmanuel Dennis. Holds the imaginary yellow card up and has a bit of a contre-temps with Steve Cooper.
I don't think I've seen Antonio Conte as calm as this. That's how comfortable the afternoon's been for Spurs. He's normally jumping about, isn't he, in that technical area?
Yeah, not seeing much evidence of that this afternoon. Christian Stellini just next to him. Meanwhile, Alan Tate and Christian Stellini and Ryan Yates, they're having a bit of a heated conversation, the two benches. Alan Tate's not backward in coming forward, the former Swansea centre-half. Ryan Yates has got plenty, Ryan Mason rather, should I say, has got plenty to say for himself. Carlisle looked to have won it late on at Swindon. Ryan Edmondson, Swindon 1, Carlisle 2 at the county ground. And a yellow card for Steve Cooper. and that just makes things even worse for Nottingham Forest. The manager gets a caution for a bit too much back chat, I assume. Has a wry smile on his face, Steve Cooper. Got some big games to come. 2 home games on the horizon against Newcastle and Wolverhampton Wanderers and Nottingham Forest. Craig Pawson blows the full-time whistle, and the Spurs go marching in and get 3 precious points to consolidate their place in the Champions League spots on a day when Liverpool lost at Bournemouth. Spurs needed to respond after a wretched 10 days or so, and they got it right. Harry Kane with 2, including a penalty. Son Heung-min with a rare goal in a Premier League start for the South Korean. Joe Worrell got a header back for Nottingham Forest, which proved to be nothing more than a consolation for the Premier League strugglers. But my oh my, how Tottenham Hotspur needed this afternoon. For once, the Spurs supporters can head home happy back down the Seven Sisters Road. Full-time score here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 3, Nottingham Forest 1.